are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward-thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.
Hello, and welcome once again to another Tuesday, a fantastic Tuesday where I, your Dress Down CEO, Tyrone Glover, get to do what I do best, which is help you get to that next level. Thank you, everyone, for taking some time out to join me today. It's always a pleasure. I want to thank Matt. I want to thank Jasmine. I want to thank Yana B. All of those in the background who make this possible. Dr. Yana B had a wonderful show this week. It was a 2-day event and it was Resurgence 2022. If you missed it, please go back to Soul City Network and take a look at those 2 days. Again, you don't have to view all of the content, but I really want you to kind of dive in there and just get a viewing of, the wonderful guests that she was talking to, all of the participants. It was something that I thought that, again, if everyone could have those types of understandings, it was amazing. It was amazing. I really want to thank Reverend Dennis Dillon for offering such an awesome platform for the state of New York, for the state of New Jersey. I mean, this was an awesome event. I wanted to attend, but I'm going to next year definitely make sure that I'm there. I'm going to bring a few students with me as well, because it's really important that we also include our youth in these financial literacy conversation. A necessary conversation is ongoing, folks, and we're all included. So welcome again to Leverage Your Score. Again, my name is Tyrone Glover, and I am your Dress Down CEO, coming to you live from my hometown of Yonkers, New York. Thank you, everybody who participates. Thank you, everybody who joins me. Thank you, everybody, for the comments, the questions. When I see you in passing, those of you who always, hey, when are you going to do another show? It's every Tuesday. Every single Tuesday. You can find me here on Soul City Network. Join in. As always, please do me a favor, grab that device and bring somebody in. Let somebody know, hey, he's back on again. He's doing that thing. He's talking about these understandings that we need to be focused on. If you haven't already, go ahead and do me that due diligence and send out an invite to somebody, because look at me, I'm watching Soul City. All right, so I want you to do what you know you should be doing. Stop holding on to this information and share it. Sharing is caring. Put it out there into the world so that everybody can get some of this vital, most important information to date. You're going to need it. You're going to need it. The globe, as I said last week, is in a recovery. So if the globe is in a recovery, that means the United States is in a recovery. And I said it last week as well. I'm going to say it continuously. The feds are not going to do anything to hurt this economy. So if you want to benefit from it, you got to be in it. And the best way to get in it is to start learning about how your money works. If you've missed that opportunity from, again, Dr. Yana B. Woodhouse, Access Wealth Nation on Thursdays, how your money works, get in there, find out how your money works. I just tell you all the time, I am the credit guy. I'm a platform. My job is to help you put that foundation, is to help you lay it all nice and smooth and proper. And then we're going to pass you on very smoothly over to that next level. But in order to get to that next level, you got to start somewhere first. And it starts with that credit. It starts with your financial literacy and how do you understand what that entails. So we're going to jump right on into it. Let's get this necessary conversation ongoing. We're going to be talking about credit scores, business credit, along with your personal credit. We want to make sure that you understand how does this all tie in together? How do you make this work to your full advantage? Leverage credit recovery and necessary conversation, correcting the narrative around financial literacy. All right, so business credit and personal credit, differences, tips, mistakes to avoid. We need you to get away from making these mistakes. We need you to understand that there is a difference between the two, and we're going to touch on whether or not that's going to impact you, hurt you. What is it going to do to actually get you to that next level? So again, business credit versus personal credit, differences, tips, mistakes to avoid. The difference between your personal and business credit, find out various ways you can establish business credit. So this is what we're going to talk about. We're going to help you make sure that you understand, how do I keep it separate, and what are some of the understandings that's going to help me build it as I go along with establishing both, creating both personal as well as business. Keeping business and personal credit separate can be tricky for small businesses, especially when you are the business. All right, when you, the individual, are the business. Even if you're the sole owner, experts recommend having a clear distinction between your personal and business finances. Building business credit aside from your personal credit is part of that equation. So it's really important that, again, keeping these entities separate, all right? To some extent, your business and personal credit may remain linked no matter how hard you work to keep them separate. For example, if you're applying for finance and don't have enough business history to qualify, you may need to add your personal guarantee into the mix. Again, it's okay, but again, as you're moving through the process, as much as you can keep them separate, it would help you in the long run. But there might be some tie-ins, obviously, if you are lacking in maybe that business understanding, and you can have to leverage your personal credit. But overall, as you already understand, keeping these entities separate is going to help with liabilities and other snags or pitfalls that might come up. So here are some few important things to know about business credit versus personal credit. All right. Your personal credit is connected to your Social Security number. All right. Whatever your Social Security number, whatever state you are in, that's what they're going to be using for your personal credit. Your personal credit history is correlated by the three major bureaus. Now, again, I have to put that out there. Bureaus is more or less a government term, meaning it's an entity that is created by the government. These are not government entities. Don't be afraid of them. Actually treat them just like you would treat anybody who abuses you and takes advantage of you. You want to get rid of them. In Equifax, TransUnion, Experian, unfortunately, we're connected to them. They have so much power, so much weight, and they do not get it right. So if you're not checking, you're not following up, you're setting yourself up for failure. So Equifax, TransUnion, Experian, and you have one profile with each. All right, you have one profile with each. So that means you're going to have to do 3 times the work if there is an issue on one. But once you get this locked down, tied in correctly, and again, that's going to be another show that we're going to do, because we need to help you understand all of the intricacies that come with it. And once you're on track, you're going to be fine. Personal or business. Now, the business element, your business credit is linked to you by your employee identification number, or better known as an EIN or a tax ID, which is how the government recognizes your business for tax purposes. You can apply for an EIN online, receive it almost instantly. I know, because you can. Technically, if you're a sole provider, you don't need an EIN for taxes, but to establish business credit, you do. All right. So be careful, not be careful, but understand that these are the means and methods or understandings that you're going to have to do. Equifax, Experian, Equifax also have business credit reporting services. Your business profile is separate from your personal credit history. All right. So you already have distinctions already. One is called a business profile, and the other one is called a credit history. So there's a good distinction as to how these two are separated already. One's an EIN, and the other one is a social security number. So there are credit reporting services which only deal with personal credit, which is Dun & Bradstreet. There's another one called NAV, N-A-V, Dun & Bradstreet being the largest and best known. If you have more than one business, you can have separate reports for each, as long as you own it. Okay, as long as you own the EIN. All right, and that's, again, employee identification number. All right, so personal versus business credit scores. Your personal credit is frequently summarized into a single number, which helps creditors see where you stand at a glance. FICO, F-I-C-O, is the most commonly used method of scoring personal credit. Fair Isaac Corporation, F-I-C-O, that's what that means, FICO. There is no equivalent for businesses. Each commercial credit bureau scores and reports its own way. So that means when you decide to go with Dun & Bradstreet, or you decide to go with Navient, or you decide to find another entity that is going to grade or score your business credit, you're going to remember, it's not like Equifax, TransUnion, Experian. They're going to grade that all on their own. So it's really about relationships, creating a positive relationship with your vendors, with your business partners, things in that nature, and having them report it to these entities that would allow for, again, increase in the business number. Same thing applies when it comes to your personal credit. Now that's getting reported to Equifax, TransUnion, Experian by the lenders. So it's really important, again, equally creating positive relationships with all of the entities or individuals that you're doing business with, because that's going to help you in the long run. All right. The most important factor of scoring businesses are usually how you pay your bills. So it's the same understanding with your personal. Business is about paying on time. All right. So if you're doing that, you have no problem. How much debt you carry and what types of industries you're in. All right. So it's really important to understand how this all ties in. Factors are almost identical: paying on time, bringing down your utilization, not having too many inquiries, having a good mix, and making sure that you're keeping that history all intact. All right. Generally speaking, business credit has fewer variables than FICO scores. All right. So sometimes it might be better to establish yourself as a business and literally focus on building that out while you're simultaneously building out your personal credit. Now, your personal credit, again, that might require a little bit more work, but the methods are all the same. How you create that relationship, how you're making sure that you're maintaining it properly, that's going to help you with increasing the opportunities that are going to be given to you, whether it be on a business side or whether it be on a personal side. Business credit scores have fewer variables than FICO scores, and it is easier to improve your score for a business than it is for an individual. You think that would be not the case, but it is the case. All right. Personal credit is so important. Business credit is equally important, but clearly you get a little bit more leeway because they probably see a lot more resources coming in. If you have a business, that means you're selling goods and services. So your income is probably going to be much, much higher than if you're someone who is a citizen or a civilian and you're only getting income from one location, and that income might not be sufficient. But again, if you maintain a proper credit behavior, and this is why I'm going to emphasize that word, because later on you're going to see something: behavior. All right, behavior. If you're focusing on your credit behavior, then you're going to be okay. And you're going to need a coach. You're going to need somebody who can navigate you through making sure that you're doing the right things. I said it last week, and I'm going to say it again this week. You want to be on a winning team. It doesn't matter if you're all the way down on the right, all the way down on the left. You want to be on a winning team. We're creating a winning team, because if you're on the team and we win, you're getting a championship ring. So stay on the winning team, get you that championship ring. On the downside, there are fewer legal protections for business credit. While consumer laws allows you to challenge anything on your report and have incorrect entries removed, there are no such laws when it comes to commercial credit. So really, really be careful. In and out of court is more or less what these types of understandings are giving out. All right. You're going to have to deal with these on a legal aspect versus dealing with those with a bureau or a credit reporting agency. All right, so it's probably even a little bit better because it gives you time to negotiate with the lenders. How do we improve our relationship if it's gone south? You can do the same thing with Equifax, TransUnion, Experian, but these entities were set up to create more harm than good. I do not like them. I do not like them. Sam, I am. I'm just kidding. I like to have fun. But no, Equifax, TransUnion, Experian, again, these entities do more harm for us as civilians than they have ever done in their entire life. They were, as most entities are, very good at doing what they need to be doing. But as with all of these entities that get so big, they don't care any longer. So they allow for computers, algorithms to dictate and make all of the understandings. They're protecting their assets, but they're leaving us very vulnerable to all of the conditions and circumstances that those algorithms don't protect. And CFPB, you got to do a better job. The governing bodies, the legislative bodies, Maxine Waters from the Financial Committee, you got to do better in holding these individuals accountable, because as we go through a recovery, we're going to need these entities more than ever. All right, that means if there are issues with your business credit report, you can have a much tougher time getting those dealt with. But as I stated, if you create a good relationship with your vendors, with your suppliers, this won't become an issue. Even if you have to, again, they have something called a 30-day, 60-day, and 90-day. Your vendors will give you more than enough time to actually sell through your product, earn that money, and then pay them back later. Whereas your personal, it's kind of like a 30-day deal, 30-day deal, 30-day deal, 30-day deal. And if you're not watching it, if you're not protecting it, your 30-day deal could turn into a disaster for you. So it's really important to make sure that you're paying those bills properly and that you're monitoring three things. Report date, meaning the date that due date. That's the date that your payment is due. Report date, that's the date that it gets reported to the credit reporting agencies. And then you want to make sure that you're checking the actual date it hits. There's legalities to the contractual understanding that Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian are negating. They're not doing. And it's our job to hold them accountable, because if they don't do accurately what is in the law, that's a violation. And more of us should be calling them out on those violations. And I'm hoping that as we navigate through this necessary conversation, I'm going to get a lot more participants who are going to say, hey, you know what? I need to know about how do I make sure that those three areas that I just focused on are 100% accurate. And if they aren't, how do I reach out to make sure that I can get due process? All right. I'm looking forward to a class action lawsuit. That's what I'm looking forward to set the record straight. Because if we don't, we're going to be going another decade. We're going to go another decade. We're going to go another decade without having any of this resolved. And I don't want to do 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 decades. Well, not decades, but years, because that would be a lot. I probably wouldn't still be alive, but that would be a lot to have to deal with. We need to correct this, and we need to correct this yesterday. All right, so it would be a tougher time getting these dealt with. Small business owners can challenge discrepancies with the agencies which have them listed, but the agencies don't have to respond. My apologies, but that's pretty sad. But as I stated, they don't have to respond, but if they want your business and you are a loyal customer to that entity, they'll do what they need to do, because they don't want to lose money either. You don't want to lose money. You don't want to have a bad, a negative impact on your personal credit. So these are the means in which you're going to have to work at making sure that they're taken care of. That business credit is essential. It is essential. If you have a business, separate it from your personal credit so that you can, again, build your personal, work on building that business credit. Again, that's two entities where you could profiteer from it significantly. You can get all your goods and services at much, much lower price points, interest rates, and all you got to do is work on behavior. That's it, nothing more. All right, so why do I need business credit? In many cases, you won't be able to complete business transactions if your business doesn't have available credit. Lenders will use a business credit history when figuring out whether or not to loan the business money. You'll also need credit to get business insurance. In many instances, you won't be able to get goods and services for your business without access to credit. So again, whatever kind of business you have, you might be going out buying it as most mom and pops do. They go to the big box stores and they load up and then they bring it back. Why are you not having a vendor? Why don't you have a vendor that can give you up to 90, maybe even up to 180 days to sell through your merchandise, get that bread, and then pay them back later on? These are really important understandings. If you had 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180 days before you had to make that additional payment, you can do really well for yourself. And this is what business credit allows for you. So as you're out and about, you go to Staples, you go to the food stores, you go to wherever it is that you do your business dealings, I want you to start asking them, do they have Dun & Bradstreet? Do they have NAV? If they do, these are the relationships that you want to definitely start fostering, because again, if you have the same understandings, that's a win-win. They'll start reporting it to those entities, and guess what? Business credit is getting established. Business credit goes up, gives you more flexibility and more time frame to do what you need to do when it comes to paying them back. And as long as you keep proper behavior, I'm going to talk about that so much in the upcoming weeks, that behavior, you are going to have to develop proper financial literacy behavior. You can't use your personal credit for all of that. You cannot use it. In some cases, you can't, but you really shouldn't. First, the IRS has strict rules about mixing personal and business expenses. Strict rules. So, separate the two entities. You cannot use, or you should not use, a business card for personal expenses. And vice versa, you shouldn't use a personal card for business expenses. It just complicates things. It makes things a little bit more confusing for you at tax time. But as I stated, keep them separately. This way you won't have that problem. Using personal checks or personal credit cards for business purposes makes your bookkeeping much tougher. Most people also believe your business looks a lot more professional when you pay for business expenses with dedicated business funds. All right, keep that professionalism. Keep that understanding as high as you need to, because again, you're dealing with businesses and they want to deal with professionals. They don't mind dealing with individuals equally as well, but keep these entities separate. Perhaps most importantly, if you use personal credit to run your business, you put yourself and your family at risk if your business experiences bankrupt or other financial troubles. So you don't want to do that. Why are you going to subject your family, your home, all of the assets that you built on a personal level? Why are you going to allow that to now be impacted by keeping the two together? Separate them, and this eliminates that risk of anyone coming after you should your business not do what it needs to do, and then they're going to attach your personal understandings to that. So let's remember, keep these entities separate. All right. So creditors will then come after you, as you will be personally liable for the expenses accrued by the business. All right. So that right there is a perfect understanding of why do I need business credit. There's a lot of reasons just in that little small 3 paragraphs of why you need it. Okay, let's get on the same page when it comes to establishing, building, creating, maintaining an accurate credit profile, both as a professional, meaning an individual, and also as a professional, meaning the business. You want to keep these behaviors and these relationships separate so that neither one of them will impact the other one, but they operate equally in the same manner. Proper behavior, proper financial literacy behavior will keep you on top of your financial game. All right, so business credit versus personal credit. Couple of FAQs or one or two FAQs. When it comes to the niceties of business and personal credit, it can be easy to get lost. Entrepreneurs frequently ask about mixing business credit with personal credit. And as I already read, you can't, you shouldn't, you don't want to do that. You want to keep those things as separate as possible. All right, when personal and business credit mix. There are times your personal and business credit will affect each other, especially if you're a sole proprietor. In most cases, your personal credit will impact your business far more than the other way around. All right. So again, business won't impact your personal, but your personal will impact your business. So it's really important. They will somehow, depending on how often you intertwine those two. And we're talking about not intertwining those two. So if you can, in the best possible way, is to separate these understandings. But there are some times where they may come together. Some business credit card applications will require your social security number. A landlord may want to run your personal credit before leasing you a space. A small business loan may need a personal guarantee. In fact, under some circumstances, the Fair Credit Reporting Act does allow lenders to review your personal credit of sole proprietors for business lending purposes. So there you can see how some of it will intertwine, but again, understanding you want to keep them as separate as possible. If you can avoid using your social security number and hence allowing access to your personal credit history for business purposes, which will help keep the two separate. Credit bureaus, again, credit bureaus are a name for credit reporting agencies. These are not bureaus. These are not federal government entities. So don't let that word scare you. These are for private companies that you can sue, and you should be suing them. You should be taking them to task for all of the malfeasance that they have created and the theft of wealth. Yes, Equifax, TransUnion, Experian have stolen wealth. They've stolen wealth over the decades of their abuse of personal information. And it's a travesty. And I'm hoping that everybody who's listening understands the importance of making sure that we call this out, that we do our due diligence as we move into this new year. If we do this now, I'm telling you, New Year comes up, February 1, you're going to be sitting so nice and pretty to start orchestrating yourself very effectively throughout this recovery. And you're going to have to start doing it now, personal as well as business. You need that help. I want you to reach out. I want you to reach out to Soul City Network. I want you to reach out to Leverage Credit Recovery. I want you to reach out to Access Wealth Nation. I want you to reach out to, again, you don't have to reach out to us. This is not a competition for me. This is an inclusion for me. I want all participants who orchestrate in this realm to look at each other and go, hey, that's my brother, that's my sister. I got to help everybody. This is not about who, what, when, where, how, and so forth and so on. I know some of them out there you got to be very, very careful of, and you should be getting a second and a third opinion if you are unsure. If they can't speak eloquently and astutely about the information, the subject matter, that should give you pause. All right. I can tell you right now, I can do this all day long because I've been in it 20 plus, doing what I've been doing for that amount of time while I've been working for corporate America for 19 different companies. I'm incorporating all of my experience into giving you the best understanding of how you can get out of whatever financial situation that you are in. Doesn't matter your income, doesn't matter your ethnicity, doesn't matter your gender, doesn't matter at all, anything. You want relief, you want help, you want recovery, come on and see us. Come on and see us, I'm telling you. Just that simple. So as I stated, these are not bureaus. Credit bureaus do not distinguish between personal and business inquiries, and incurring too many business-related credit inquiries can have a negative impact on your personal credit. So if you were dealing with business credit, hey, you can go out there and you can keep asking because, as we mentioned earlier, that's not reported in the same manner. You just want to keep great relationships once they establish, or once you do get an understanding with a lender or a vendor, that you establish that properly. So as I stated, they can give you 30 days, 60 days, 90 days invoices, so you don't have to pay those. You can sell through the merchandise. And this is what a lot of big businesses do. So treat yourself, even though you might be a mom and pop, you can still negotiate these terms and conditions. And my job is to help you get to that level. That's why we do this every single Tuesday. We talk about the personal side. We're now talking about the business side. We're going to dive into a lot more of the financial literacy pieces, because there are so many of those pieces that's going to help you with, as I stated, recover. This is about credit recovery along with financial literacy. You're going to need both of them. And as you have both of them in that repertoire, you're going to be fully set for this upcoming recovery. So it can have negative impact on your personal credit score. For small businesses, your personal and business credit score can be very closely linked. So it's smart and important to protect them both. All right. It's smart and important to protect them both. This is about behavior. Past behavior, we're going to address it and we're going to forget it, because we're not going to keep going backwards. We're going to address it and we're going to forget it, because we're not going to keep going backwards. This is about moving forward financially. If you want it, we are here to provide it. I said it last week and I'm going to keep saying it. The experts are now reaching out to those who might be having some problems, who might be challenged, who might be having some concern, who might just have some questions. Am I doing this right? And trust me, I'm one of those people that if you are, I'm going to pat you on the back, give you a round of applause, and I'm going to send you on your way with my business card to let you know that, hey, if you need us, don't hesitate. If you got questions, concerns, comments, whatever it might be, don't worry. We are here to serve and offer all types of situations a remedy. You're a business, you are unsure, remedy. You're a person, an individual unsure, remedies. Leverage credit recovery is about solutions. Dress Down CEO Tyrone Glover, we are about solutions, not problems. There's already too many problems out there. So let us help you get to that next financial level. And then once you're there, let us help you get to that next financial level. I told you, we got a cadre of talent, professionals, experts, and all they want to do is assist you, the public, because we know that you're going through some challenging times. The last 2 years, we were in a pandemic, and now we're coming out of that pandemic. You need assistance. You need help. Stop thinking how I'm going to, and start committing that time to the help that you need, and I'm guaranteeing it. There are individuals out there who will assist you. You just have to get out of your own way. All right, so you got to make sure you're protecting both of them, your business as well as your personal credit. All right, is it possible to build credit if you have bad personal credit? Absolutely. Since personal and business credit files are separate, it's possible to establish strong business credit even if you have a low personal rating. All right, the trick is to firmly distinguish your business credit from your personal credit before you start trying to build your business credit, distinguishing them separately. All right. If you're going to do that, that means whatever business cards I get, I cannot be using them on my personal expenses. Whatever personal cards I get, I cannot be using them on my business purchases. You have to distinguish the two and keep them separate. And if you do, I'm telling you, it's going to be a win, 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 win for you. As you build that business credit, again, they might be looking at, you can go to a personal loan guarantee and say, hey, look at my business. I'm doing fabulous. And they'll look at your personal credit and go, okay, you're not doing so well over here, but you're working on it. You don't see any negative. I don't see any late payments. Okay, you're working on boosting that score. You look at the business credit side, and they're going to be like, oh my goodness, whoa, you got all these accounts, you're doing all of this, and everything is in track. guarantee you that that entity that you might be attempting to get a loan from or a credit card from, when it comes to that personal understanding, you'll get it. You'll get it. You have guarantee now. You've created leverage for yourself. Hence the name of our company, Leverage Credit Recovery. It was strategically thought out to put together a company that allowed for you to understand, wow, this company is really about making sure that I'm going to be okay, because we're going to leverage all of our experience to help you build a credit profile from all of the recovery understandings that this country has provided. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. I talk to my students about this, and they are hungry. They can't wait till we put this into an actual academic curriculum. My students are, they're salivating. They're like, oh my goodness, how come we don't hear this stuff? I've been saying the exact same thing. How come we don't? So I'm putting a question out there to the Soul City Network universe. I'm putting a question out there to the YouTube universe. I'm putting a question out there to the Apple TV universe. I'm putting a question out there to the Instagram, the Twitters, every social media platform. I'm putting it out there to you. How come we do not teach financial literacy in our K through 12 understanding? Why is it that New York State has a D grade when it comes to financial literacy? Could somebody please answer that? Governor Holcomb, Jamal Bowman, Mayor Spano, the mayor of New York City. Help me understand. Neighboring communities, Mount Vernon, White Plains, New Rochelle, Peekskill, all of these neighboring communities within New York State. How is it that we do not teach financial literacy? And why is our state struggling with a D grade? I need some assistance here, because as I said, the professionals are here. We are here asking the questions, and we want now the answers. If you can't satisfy us, then let us help you. It's just that simple. All right. So the trick is to firmly distinguish your business credit from your personal credit before you start trying to build your personal or your business credit score. You can do this by always paying your business expenses through the business bank account or business credit card, and always depositing business income into business accounts before writing yourself a paycheck. All right, put it all into the business. Everything that is business related goes into that business, and then you can pay yourself, or then you can take care of other vendors. All right, whenever you apply for new lines of credit, business credit cards, or bank accounts from your business, try to always use your EIN rather than your social security number. All right, remember that EIN is called an employee identification number. Don't use your social security number, because you're going to take a ding in the inquiry area. Whereas if you already have a business account, you probably won't. No, not that you won't take that ding, because as we mentioned earlier, these things are being scored differently than the ones that get reported to Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. All right. So this will maximize the separation between your business and personal accounts, helping you grow your business credit history independently from your personal credit baggage. Once your accounts are separate, you will be able to really focus on building up your personal credit history. All right. Look at that. We're breezing through this stuff. I hope you are really getting a lot of this valuable information. If you are ever unsure or question, you can't get in touch with me, reach out to Soul City Network, reach out to as I stated, reach out to Dr. Yana B. Woodhouse on Access Wealth Nation, and they will pass that information on. But again, here's where you can get it, folks. Go back to Soul City Digital and review those recordings. Review those live recordings. They are all there on Soul City Digital. If you haven't, I would definitely recommend going back and checking out the variety of different wonderfully produced and orchestrated shows that are on that network. It's really, really cool. It's really, really exciting to know that there is a platform out there that's, again, about educating and helping the public get to that next level, regardless of the financial situation or the ethnicity. You want it, we got it. All right, so how can I build business credit? Is your business credit just a safeguard for personal credit? Business credit is more than just a veil of liability purposes. In fact, the United States Small Business Administration recommends thinking of your business credit report as a gauge for the financial history and reputation of your business. Just that simple. It's your history and your reputation. Clearly, you want to have both in the most exceptional understanding or categories. You do anything less than that, it's going to hurt you. So these are about making sure that you're establishing, fostering, promoting, and maintaining exceptional relationships and behavior when it comes to that credit. It's just that simple. If you do these principles, these practices, over and over and over and over. And again, don't find the time, make that time. If you make that time, I'm telling you, your worries, your concerns will not become lifelong. They will be short-lived and it will become an automatic. And with new technology, as Tony Robbins was talking about on his show today, if you missed it, go back and check that out. He was talking with someone from the Creative Lab. And I was watching their virtual their metaverse virtual understanding. And it was really cool. It was actually very, very impressive. And if we can tie this all into our financial behaviors and practices, which eventually I'm sure it will, but technology is going to help us. So I need all of you to understand it's not a bad thing. I'm talking about seniors. I'm talking about those who are in that age group like I am, 50s, talking about those below us. Obviously, the children are all into the technology. And our job now is to help them integrate that technology so that they can financially succeed as we move through whatever these United States puts in front of us, regardless of who the government is ran by, Democrats, Republicans, independent, it doesn't matter. I can tell you right now, the feds will not do anything to harm this economy. We have one of the strongest economies. And unfortunately, only a select few are benefiting from it. These are now the times where we're going through a full-on recovery. Anyone who wants to benefit can benefit. You just have to get out of your way and you have to find willing participants. I'm a willing participant. Dr. Yanabe of Access Wealth Nation is a willing participant. Matt McCoy of Soul City Network is a willing participant. We all want to help you get to that next level. We want to see you succeed. And the only way for you to do that is reach out to us. Reach out to us. All of the information that you could ever want is right here in front of you. And if you are unsure, not familiar with the terms or the understandings of how to even begin to approach it, don't worry about it. We'll take care of all of that for you. You just got to reach out. All right. So then there are a number of benefits to maintaining good business credit. These include, all right, some key success factors. Access to funding. Clearly, if you do everything right, guess what's going to be at your liberty? As much resources as you need. Funding. Hey, you're opening up a beauty salon. Well, you're going to need all the products. You're going to need all you're going to need to update the location. You might need to get an awning. You might need to have special signs. You might need a dryer. You might need a sink. You might need all of these things. And obviously, with access to funding, it'll take care of that. If you have a business like mine, you're going to need computers. You're going to need desks. You're going to need chairs. You're going to need, again, an office space with a waiting area, with some snacks or things of that nature. If you're opening up a grocery store or a mom and pop, you're going to need all this equipment. You're going to need everything to make your location look as professional and eye-opening and appealing to those who might be visiting your store or your establishment. You're going to need access to funding. So if you do these things now, access to funding is going to be there. Higher credit limits kind of ties into access to funding. If I can get a higher credit limit to buy whatever it is that I need at a very, very low interest rate, that's a win-win-win. You want to purchase and you want to purchase at the lowest possible interest rate. So you got to maintain proper behavior when it comes to that credit understanding, whether it be personal or whether it be business. And better terms from suppliers. They're going to give you lengthier time frames to pay them back. I said something about a 30, a 60, a 90, a 120, a 150, a 180. Those are considered time frames in which your lenders will grant you once you start creating a positive relationship based on how you are behaving when it comes to repaying. You do that successfully, and I'm telling you, these lenders will give you as much time as long as you create a positive and trusting financial relationship with them. You do that, you'll be okay. And then also, if you happen to fall on hard times, negotiating, speaking up prior to, and I know that's challenging for a lot of us, was very, very challenging for me. I was always afraid to talk to someone that I owed money to. And I got out of that. I really focused on, hey, you know what? It's just a person. They're either going to say yes or they're going to say no. But if I've established a positive relationship with them and then they tell me no, oh, that means I have to look elsewhere because they don't value me as a consumer. But if I had a negative relationship with them, then I got to reestablish a positive relationship with them. And I got to ask them to be adult enough to say, hey, you know what? Yep, things didn't go our way in the beginning. How do we rectify? How do we clarify? How do we move on to a better understanding? That's called negotiation. Even if you do fall on hard times and these instances, they wind up in court, the worst you can do is called adverse inference by not responding to a letter that comes in the mail. I know we're getting a lot of phone calls from these spammers and robots and things of that nature. You don't necessarily have to answer every phone call, but if you do get something in that mail that looks important and it's financially related, you don't want to sleep on that, especially if it's coming from the courts. All right. That's another topic for another whole story or a show that we're definitely going to have to talk about. If you get a summary judgment or if you get something that comes from the courts, we addressed it last week, but we will be diving further into it. But again, better terms from suppliers. If you can get longer time frame, that means you can sell through that merchandise. That means you can do a lot of hair. That means you could help a lot of individuals out in the credit realm or whatever it is that your specialty is as to why you're establishing a business. You can do more of that and have less stress of, oh my God, I got to pay this. I got to pay this. I got to pay this. You have time frame. And that's what you want through this better terms from your suppliers. All right, does business credit affect my personal credit or vice versa? It's important, again, to separate your personal business credit as much as possible. All right. However, even if you do the best, there can still be both impact. They can still both impact your business. Just how much depends on the lender or the loan issuer. On some loans, credit or lease applications, your lender or landlord will ask for your social security number either in addition to or instead of your EIN. This generally means that your personal credit report is being reviewed. So it's okay, again, if they're needing a personal guarantee in some regards, then you definitely want to offer that personal guarantee. That's all. That's all they're saying. If they need it and you have it to provide, but again, you want to keep these understandings separate. It's just that important. No matter what they may ask for that personal guarantee, once you have the understanding or you have the business relationship established, now that they've checked your personal credit, remember to keep the two entities separate as you're doing your personal and business dealings. Similarly, if you're using personal assets or personal liabilities to secure a loan and don't have a lot of business credit built up, your personal credit history will likely come into play to fill the gap. All right, this is especially true if you're a sole proprietor, vice versa, part of a partnership business. However, if a lender only asks for your EIN, it's likely that they won't look at your personal finances. In this case, your personal credit isn't likely to impact your business credit. So there you have it. There is some vice versa that could happen, could go on, but as long as you understand, once I get the product or the service that I need, I have to keep those entities separate. Business is business, personal is personal. Keep it separate. All right. Conversely, your business credit can also impact your personal credit. Again, this depends on your lender or creditor's policies. For instance, some business credit card issuers report all business card activity to credit bureaus. All right. So again, bureaus, not a federal bureau or anything related to the federal government. Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian are all private entities. These are billion-dollar companies that make hundreds of millions of dollars in fines and fees, and they get to write those off, creating emboldened positions for them to commit further acts of aggression and egregious acts against us consumers. And these entities need to be taken to task. And the only way for that to happen is for us, Leverage Credit Recovery, and you, the consumer, to want to hold them accountable. And even if we have to class action where they don't get to write off that fine or fee, they need to be held accountable to all their egregious abuses that have been going on for decades. And the only way to do that is to have shows like this that call them out, and to have consumers who are fed up and exhausted, just like we were exhausted during the November 8th election. We were exhausted with those who were spreading the falsities about a stolen election. We were exhausted with those who kept talking about we said the stolen election, the fake news, all of these lies, and these perpetrators who were, again, out there spreading the most vitriol, hate towards communities. These are all fabricated understandings, just like what Equifax and TransUnion and Experian are doing when it comes to your credit. They're fabricating, they're not abiding by the law, and we must hold abusers of public trust accountable. And the only way to do that, as I stated, I'm here to help. You're the consumer who might be going through it. Let's work together and let's put these entities not necessarily out of business, but let's make sure that they understand that we're not that consumer. We're not that consumer. This can have an impact on your personal credit history and credit score. Other credit card issuers, however, only issue reports in case of default. So here's a rundown of some of these bigger issuers' policies. So Capital One, they report all activities. Chase reports in case of default, which I completely disagree with. If you're going to report anything, I want you to report everything. Don't just report my negatives. That's going to have the largest impact on my credit. I want you to report it from day one all the way up until I decide to dissolve my account with you. Discovery reports all activity. Bank of America reports if the account, again, is delinquent. Why are these major entities that are global entities, why are they only reporting when it's a negative? Why don't they decide to report? And this is, again, how favorable, how liberal our governments have been with these financial institutions. So that's why it's really important to make sure that you're checking your personal credit report all the time. You have to make the time to check your personal credit report. As you are obviously building out your business and you know that it's being reported differently, you still have to make that time to do that as well. And if you can't, implore your children. Bring them into the business. Start making this a family affair, personal as well as business credit. Implore them to do what you might not be able to do. Because I'm telling you, your children, teenagers, K through 12, again, K through 12, they are wanting to know more about money and how it works. It's our job as the messengers to convey this valuable, important message to our children that they themselves are going to have to know how to do this as well. We might be okay or we might not be okay, but the recipients of our success or our failures are going to be these generations that are coming up behind us. So credit, Citibank reports all activities. Wells Fargo does not report. One of the worst banks in America, one of the worst banks ever, Wells Fargo, and they don't report. Don't agree with that. I don't agree with that because I've seen many credit reports where they do. This might be related to the business aspect of it. But again, business, personal, you still want to review all of your personal accounts or your business accounts. PNC does not report, and American Express reports in cases of default. Anyone who's not reporting or anyone who's only reporting in the case of default, they're doing the consumer a harm, a disservice. So CFPB, FDIC, FTC, we need you guys to enforce a lot more of the understanding that protects us, the consumer, and not the business that gets subsidies and all kind of other favorabilities that we, the consumer, doesn't. And the only way to enforce or make this whole or make us, we're not going to get 100% whole, but get us as close to it, is that we have to bond together. We have to come together, communities of color. We have to come together, the working poor. We have to come together, the middle class. We have to come together, students of all ages. If we do this now, prior to next year, we're going to find ourselves in a much better financial position. All right, so before I wrap it up, I got to tell you this. Credit repair, fix your credit, fix your credit. These are things that do not work. It's about behavior. You have to recover from poor credit behavior, poor financial literacy practices and behavior. You cannot repair credit. You cannot fix credit. I need you to get these terms. That's why we're correcting the narrative. I need you to get these terms out of your cranium, because you cannot repair credit, nor can you fix credit. You have to recover from poor credit decisions. Just that simple. Everybody, thank you so much for giving me the time. This is always one of my favorite days in the entire world because it allows for me to do what I do best, which is help you get to that next level. And it's always going to be an understanding that that's what we're doing. We're helping you to get to that next level. Our job every single week is to help you get to that next ultimate understanding of your financial abilities. Can you successfully do what is needed? If you can't, I need you to start reaching out to Leverage Credit Recovery. Leverage Credit Recovery. Leverage Credit Recovery at gmail.com. You can reach out to Soul City Network. You can reach out to, as I said, to Dr. Yana B. Woodhouse, equally on Soul City Network. I want you to really start looking at some of those previous recordings that we had, whether they be my show, whether they be Dr. Yana B's show. We are giving you content and information that's going to help you get to whatever financial understanding you need. Here's my telephone number, 805-428-9424. That email address was leveragecreditrecovery@gmail.com. And the business is obviously leveragecreditrecovery.com. This has been, again, one of those fantastic hours that has allowed for me to give you a wealth of information. And I've said over and over and over, I'm going to give you this much, and all I need you to do is that much. If you do that much, your financial future is going to be secure. Your financial future is going to be set. You're going to put yourselves on a pathway to generational wealth if you start today. We have the holidays coming up. I want everybody to have a wonderful and safe Thanksgiving. If you are traveling back and forth on those highways and byways, please use extreme caution. Enjoy these festivities. Enjoy these holidays. Keep yourself safe. Keep yourself in the graces and the covering of our greatest provider of all, which is that Heavenly Father who protects and oversees every single last one of us. I want to thank all of you for giving me the time. And as I stated, Leverage Credit Recovery is here for you. We're doing what we should be doing, and we're doing it because you need it. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Everybody be safe and have a great and wonderful Thanksgiving holiday. We love you. We appreciate you. Until next time, be safe, America.